Emma Wright stood by the kitchen window, watching raindrops race down the glass. Her tiny apartment felt smaller with each passing month, the weight of financial struggle pressing against her shoulders. At 27, she had imagined her life would be different, a successful teacher, supporting her elderly mother, living a comfortable life. Instead, reality had carved a much harsher path. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, a constant reminder of unpaid bills and mounting medical expenses. Emma's mother, Margaret, had been battling health issues for years, and every medical treatment seemed to drain their limited resources. Teaching at a local school provided a modest income, but it was never enough. That Wednesday morning began like any other. Emma prepared a simple breakfast of toast and tea, carefully counting her remaining groceries. She knew exactly how many meals she could stretch before the next paycheck. Her fingers traced the edges of her thin wallet, calculating and recalculating their survival strategy. As she dressed for work, Emma caught her reflection in the mirror. Dark circles under her eyes told stories of sleepless nights spent worrying about their future. Her once bright teaching uniform now looked slightly worn, patched carefully to extend its life. She tucked a loose strand of brown hair behind her ear and took a deep breath. The walk to school was always a journey of mixed emotions. Children laughed and played around her, their innocence a stark contrast to her internal struggles. She loved teaching, loved watching young minds grow and learn, but lately the joy had been overshadowed by constant financial stress. When she arrived home that evening, something was different. A plain white envelope sat on her small wooden table, seemingly out of place. No return address, no familiar handwriting. Curiosity pulled her closer. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened the envelope, unsure of what she might find. Inside was a simple red button and a folded piece of paper. The button looked ordinary, round, smooth, with a deep crimson color that seemed to hold a mysterious depth. Emma turned it over in her hands, feeling its unexpected weight. The note beside it contained just a few words. "Your journey of hope begins now." She laughed softly, a mix of exhaustion and disbelief. Hope seemed like a luxury she could not afford. Between her mother's medical bills, her tight teaching salary, and the constant struggle to keep their small life together, hope felt like a distant dream. Margaret sat in her favorite armchair, knitting a small blanket. Her weathered hands moved slowly, a testament to her declining health. "Everything okay, darling?" she asked, sensing her daughter's confusion. Emma showed her the mysterious envelope. Her mother's eyes sparkled with an unexpected excitement. "Sometimes unexpected gifts arrive when we need them most," Margaret said, her voice soft but wise. That night Emma couldn't sleep. The red button sat on her bedside table, catching moonlight through the window. It seemed to pulse with an unexplained energy, whispering promises of something different, something more. She thought about her dreams of becoming an exceptional teacher, of creating meaningful educational experiences for children. She remembered why she had chosen this profession, not for money, but for the possibility of making a difference. Those memories reignited a spark within her, a tiny flame of determination that refused to be extinguished. The red button remained a mystery. Was it a sign, a joke, or something more significant? Emma didn't know. But for the first time in months, she felt a subtle shift. A feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, something was about to change. As dawn broke, casting soft light across her small apartment, Emma made a decision. Whatever this red button represented, she would face it with the same courage she had faced every other challenge in her life. Her mother's resilience, her own passion for teaching, and an unexplained sense of hope would guide her. Little did Emma know that this ordinary Wednesday would mark the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The red button was more than just an object. It was a key to unlocking possibilities she had not yet imagined. The first rays of sunlight danced across the button, as if confirming that something magical was about to unfold. The morning. After receiving the mysterious red button, Emma couldn't shake off the strange feeling of anticipation. Her routine walk to school felt different, as if the world around her had subtly changed. The button remained in her jacket pocket, a constant reminder of the mysterious message. During her lunch break, Emma decided to examine the button more closely. Its deep red color seemed to shimmer with an almost magnetic quality. As she turned it over in her hand, a colleague named Richard Thompson approached her classroom. Richard was a retired businessman in his late 50s, known for his involvement in local community projects. He had visited the school several times to discuss educational support programs. Today, something about his approach seemed different, more purposeful. "Miss Wright," he said, his kind eyes studying her carefully, "I couldn't help but notice. Do you seem preoccupied today?" Emma hesitated. Something in Richard's demeanor made her feel she could trust him. Almost unconsciously, she pulled out the red button from her pocket. "I received this strange thing yesterday," she explained, showing him the mysterious object. To her surprise, Richard's eyes widened with recognition. "Interesting," he murmured, examining the button closely. "It seems you've been selected for an opportunity." He explained that a local community network had been experimenting with innovative ways to support struggling professionals, particularly those in education. The red button was part of their unique outreach program, a way to connect people who needed help with those who could provide support. "We've been watching you," Richard continued. "Your dedication to teaching, your commitment to your students, and your personal struggles haven't gone unnoticed." Emma felt a mix of emotions, surprise, curiosity, and a tiny spark of hope. Richard offered her a part-time consulting position with his Educational Support Foundation. The job would provide additional income, enough to help cover her mother's medical expenses and ease her financial strain. The opportunity seemed too good to be true. Emma's practical nature made her skeptical. "Why me?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Richard smiled warmly. "Because some people deserve a chance. And you, Emma Wright, have more potential than you realize." The consulting job would involve developing educational support programs for students from challenging backgrounds. It aligned perfectly with Emma's passion for teaching and her deep understanding of educational challenges. That evening, Emma shared the news with her mother. Margaret's eyes sparkled with pride and hope. "Sometimes, darling," she said, holding her daughter's hand, "the universe has its own way of opening doors. The additional income would make a significant difference." Medical treatments that seemed impossible now felt within reach. Emma could finally breathe a little easier, knowing she could provide better care for her mother. As days passed, Emma began her consulting work. She discovered a network of professionals who genuinely cared about supporting educators and students. Her experiences of financial struggle became her greatest strength, allowing her to design programs that truly understood people's needs. The red button remained a mystery, but it had become a symbol of unexpected opportunity. Emma started to believe that sometimes hope arrives in the most unexpected packages. Her first project involved creating a mentorship program for young teachers facing financial challenges. She drew from her own experiences, designing a support system that went beyond mere financial assistance. Richard became more than just a colleague. He became a mentor and friend. He saw potential in Emma that she had not yet recognized in herself. Through their work together, she began to understand that her struggles were not limitations, but opportunities for growth. The consulting job wasn't just about money. It was about creating meaningful change, about proving that one person's determination could make a significant difference in the educational landscape. As weeks turned into months, Emma transformed. The stressed, worried teacher was gradually replaced by a confident, passionate educator who believed in the power of support and community. The red button continued to sit on her desk, a constant reminder of the unexpected journey that had begun with a simple, mysterious object. The end. The autumn wind swept through the small coastal town, bringing with it a sense of change. Emma Wright stood at the community center, surrounded by a group of local professionals she had come to know through Richard Thompson's network. Each person represented a different field: healthcare, education, social work. But they shared one common goal: supporting those who needed help. Her consulting work had opened doors she never knew existed. What started as a part-time job had become a mission. Emma discovered a world of interconnected support systems that could transform lives, one person at a time. Thomas Harris, a local healthcare worker, approached her during a community meeting. "We've been tracking the impact of your educational support programs," he said, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "The way you're connecting students with resources is remarkable." Emma learned about scholarship programs hidden from public view. These weren't just financial support systems, but carefully designed networks that understood the deeper challenges faced by struggling students and educators. A young woman named Elizabeth Green shared her own story during one of the meetings. She had once been a student who nearly dropped out of college due to financial constraints. Now she worked as a social worker, dedicated to creating support systems for others like her. The red button, that mysterious object that had started her journey, seemed to pulse with energy whenever Emma connected with these remarkable individuals. It was as if the button had a way of bringing the right people together at the right moment. Her mother, Margaret, noticed the change in her daughter. The worry lines that had once permanently marked Emma's face began to soften. Hope was replacing. Fear, possibility was replacing limitation. During one community workshop, Emma presented a comprehensive plan for supporting young educators. She shared her personal story, the struggles of making ends meet, the challenge of supporting her mother's medical needs. Her vulnerability became her strength. Richard watched from the back of the room, a proud smile spreading across his face. He had seen potential in Emma that she had not yet recognized in herself. The network he had built was about more than just financial support. It was about creating human connections. Local businesses began to take notice. They saw value in supporting educational initiatives that truly made a difference. Small grants started to flow not as charity, but as investments in human potential. Emma discovered a mentorship program that connected experienced educators with those just starting their careers. She became both a mentor and a mentee, learning and teaching simultaneously. Her experiences of struggle became her most powerful teaching tool. The community network expanded beyond formal meetings. Informal connections formed, people helping people not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Emma was at the center of this growing web of support. Her consulting work with Richard had transformed into something much larger. They were building a system that recognized that everyone's journey is different, that support looks different for each person. Healthcare professionals began collaborating with educators. Social workers connected with local businesses. The rigid boundaries between different professional fields started to blur, replaced by a more holistic approach to community support. Emma's mother watched this transformation with quiet joy. The stress that had once consumed her daughter was being replaced by purpose and passion. During one particularly cold evening, Emma sat in her small apartment, the red button beside her. She reflected on the journey that had begun with this mysterious object. What had seemed like a random occurrence now felt like a carefully orchestrated opportunity. The button represented more than just a physical object. It was a symbol of unexpected connections, of the invisible threads that connect people who are willing to help each other. Her world had expanded. Where once she saw only limitations, she now saw possibilities. The network she was part of was proving that collective support could change individual lives. As the evening light faded, Emma felt a sense of peace. She didn't know exactly where this journey would lead, but she knew she was no longer alone. The red button continued to sit quietly, a reminder that hope often arrives in the most unexpected ways. The Endema Wright stood before a mirror, barely recognizing the woman staring back at her. Gone was the tired, worried teacher who had struggled just months ago. In her place was a confident woman, with purpose burning in her eyes. The past year had transformed her completely. What began as a mysterious red button had become a journey of personal and professional growth. Her work with the Community Support Network had opened doors she never thought possible. Her mother, Margaret, watched with pride as Emma prepared for an important presentation. The medical treatments that once seemed impossible were now manageable. Hope had replaced constant worry in their small apartment. Richard Thompson had become more than just a mentor. He saw potential in Emma that she had not yet recognized in herself. "You're not just solving problems," he would tell her. "You're creating solutions that can change entire communities." Emma's community education program was gaining recognition. She designed innovative support systems that addressed the root causes of educational inequality. Her personal struggles became her greatest strength, allowing her to understand challenges that others might overlook. During a local conference, she shared her story, how a single red button had changed her entire life. Educators and community leaders listened intently, moved by her journey of transformation. Success isn't about money, Emma told the audience. It's about creating opportunities for others. It's about understanding that everyone has potential, waiting to be unlocked. Her program began connecting struggling students with mentors, resources, and support networks. She created scholarship opportunities that went beyond financial aid, providing emotional and professional guidance. Thomas Harris, the local healthcare worker, approached her after the presentation. "You're doing something extraordinary," he said, his eyes bright with admiration. "You're proving that one person can make a real difference." Emma's relationship with her mother had deepened. No longer were they just surviving. They were thriving. Margaret's health improved, and she became Emma's biggest supporter and advisor. The red button remained a constant reminder of her journey. It sat on her desk, a symbol of unexpected opportunity. Sometimes Emma would hold it, remembering the moment everything changed. Her consulting work evolved into something more significant. She wasn't just helping individuals, she was building a sustainable support system for educators and students facing challenges. Local businesses began to take notice. They saw the value in her approach, addressing educational challenges with compassion and practical solutions. Small grants started to flow, supporting her innovative programs. Emma developed workshops that taught resilience, financial planning, and personal development. She drew from her own experiences, creating materials that spoke directly to those struggling to achieve their dreams. Richard watched her growth with quiet pride. "You've become more than we ever imagined," he told her during one of their meetings. The network they had built was changing lives, one person at a time. Her personal transformation wasn't just professional. Emma had found a sense of purpose that went beyond her initial dreams of teaching. She was creating systemic change, challenging the traditional ways of supporting education. The community began to see her differently. No longer just a struggling teacher, she was now a leader, an innovator, a beacon of hope for those facing similar challenges. During one quiet evening, Emma reflected on her journey. The red button had been more than just a random occurrence. It was a catalyst for change, a symbol of unexpected opportunity. Her mother's health continued to improve. The medical treatments that once seemed impossible were now a reality. Emma had created a life of stability and hope, not just for herself, but for others facing similar challenges. The network of support continued to grow. Educators, healthcare, workers, and community leaders came together, inspired by Emma's approach. Her story proved that compassion could be a powerful tool for change. As the sun set on another remarkable day, Emma looked at the red button. It had become more than an object. It was a reminder that hope can arrive in the most unexpected ways. Her transformation was complete. The worried, struggling teacher had become a powerful force of change, proving that one person's determination could create ripples of positive impact. The end. The small community center buzzed with energy as Emma stood before a crowd of eager listeners. Her journey from a struggling teacher to a community leader was now complete. The red button that had started everything sat proudly on the podium beside her. 3 years had passed since that mysterious envelope had arrived. What once seemed like an impossible dream was now a thriving reality. Emma had founded a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting educators and students from challenging backgrounds. Richard Thompson sat in the front row, his eyes glistening with pride. He had watched Emma transform from a worried young teacher to a powerful community leader. The network they had built together was changing lives in ways they never imagined. "Every person has a story," Emma began, her voice steady and strong. "Every struggle is an opportunity for growth. I stand here today not as someone who overcame challenges, but as someone who learned to turn those challenges into possibilities." Her Mother Margaret watched from the side of the room. Her health had dramatically improved and she had become an active supporter of Emma's work. The worry lines that once marked her face had been replaced by a radiant smile of hope. The non-profit had grown beyond their wildest dreams. They had created scholarship programs, mentorship initiatives, and support systems that helped hundreds of educators and students. Each program was designed with compassion and practical understanding. Thomas Harris, the local healthcare worker who had become a close ally, approached the podium. "Emma represents the best of what community support can achieve," he told the audience. "She didn't just solve her own problems, she created solutions for others." Elizabeth Green, once a struggling student herself, now worked as a key coordinator in Emma's organization. Her story of transformation inspired many. She understood firsthand the power of support and opportunity. The red button remained a symbol of their journey. Emma often shared the story of how a mysterious object had changed her entire life. It represented hope, unexpected opportunity, and the power of human connection. Local businesses had become strong supporters of the initiative. What started as a small community project had grown into a model of social support that other towns wanted to replicate. Emma had proven that compassion could be a powerful tool for change. During the presentation, Emma shared stories of students who had been transformed. Young people who had once felt hopeless now had opportunities for education, mentorship, and personal growth. Each story was a testament to the power of support. Her mother's medical treatments, once an impossible dream, were now a manageable reality. Margaret had become an active supporter of the organization, sharing her wisdom and experience with younger generations. The community network continued to expand. Educators, healthcare workers, social workers, and local businesses came together with a common goal. They were creating a support system that went beyond traditional boundaries. Emma's approach was unique. She didn't just provide financial support, she created comprehensive programs that addressed emotional, professional, and personal challenges. Her own experiences had taught her that true support was holistic. As the presentation concluded, the audience stood in a thunderous applause. Emma looked at the red button, remembering the moment everything changed. What had seemed like a random occurrence was now a powerful symbol of hope. Richard approached her after the event. "You've done more than we ever imagined," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You've created a system that can change lives." The non-profit had become a beacon of hope for many. It proved that one person's determination could create significant change. Emma had transformed her personal struggles into a powerful force for good. As evening fell, Emma sat in her office, the red button beside her. She reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a struggling teacher to a community leader, her transformation was complete. Her story spread beyond the local community. Media outlets began to share her journey, inspiring others to believe in the power of support and human connection. Emma had become a symbol of hope and resilience. The red button continued to sit on her desk, a constant reminder that hope can arrive in the most unexpected ways. It was more than an object now. It was a symbol of transformation, of possibility, of the incredible power of human connection. As the night settled, Emma knew her journey was far from over. There were more lives to change, more opportunities to create, more hope to spread. The end.